Yeah.
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to Ala's World of Finance. In today's quick video, we're going to talk about Pandora stock, ticker symbol P, and we're going to do a deep analysis on Pandora stock. And the reason why is because they've basically been getting hammered recently. In fact, in the past week, their stock is down 17.5%, so very significant. Now, I know that there's been the whole tech sell-off and a lot of uncertainty in the market, but there are a lot of reasons why Pandora stock has been dropping. So we're going to talk about that. So we're going to go over their business, some of their growing competition. We're going to talk about all the reasons why their stock has been getting hammered. We're going to go over all the numbers. And at the end of the video, I will give you my overall opinion on how I feel about Pandora stock. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, when looking at their business, they basically provide internet radio for free with commercials, or they have an ad-free experience for a monthly fee. And they recently announced Pandora Premium in March, and that's kind of their up-and-coming thing that should hopefully help them out a lot. Well, when looking at why their stock has been getting hammered so much recently, we can start with an investment deal that they made with KKR. So they announced this deal on May 8th, and it was for KKR to invest $150 million in Pandora, and in return, KKR would get preferred stock and a board seat. Now, Pandora would also have 30 days to find a potential buyer because Pandora actually wanted another company to acquire Pandora. And the reason why they were basically making this deal is because $150 million would basically strengthen their balance sheet, and it would make them much more attractive to a potential buyer. So if they did in fact find a potential buyer, they would pay a $15 million fee to KKR because it's basically like an insurance policy. This basically helps them find a buyer, and so then they'll pay a fee to KKR if they get acquired. Now, during those 30 days, Pandora was very confident that they could find a buyer, and they formed a team and they tried to find a buyer, but they were struggling to actually find one. And so they ended up having to extend the deadline. And then at the end of the deadline, they reached an agreement with SiriusXM, but it wasn't for Sirius to acquire Pandora. It was just for Sirius to invest $480 million. And in return, Sirius would get a 19% stake in the company and 3 board seats, including chairman. Now, there were a few complications with this deal, and it basically ended up hurting their stock. For one thing, they ended up basically terminating the deal with KKR, and they had to pay $22.5 million in fees to KKR. Now, they also had to sell, Pandora had to sell Ticketfly, which is a company that they acquired, and it's basically a ticket selling platform where they sell tickets to like concerts and stuff like that. And they had to sell Ticketfly because it was a conflict of interest with SiriusXM. In fact, Liberty Media is the parent company to SiriusXM and to their sister company, Live Nation. And Live Nation owns Ticketmaster, which is a direct competitor to Ticketfly. So before they could make the deal with Sirius, they had to sell Ticketfly. Now, because they were trying to reach the deadline because they were trying to make this deal before the deadline ends, they basically had to sell Ticketfly at a much cheaper cost because anybody willing to buy Ticketfly knew that they had an advantage because Pandora was short on time. So Pandora sold Ticketfly for $200 million before the Sirius deal. They sold Ticketfly for $200 million to Eventbrite. And the problem with this is that Pandora actually purchased Ticketfly less than two years prior for $450 million. So by making this deal, they actually lost $250 million because they acquired it for $450 and they sold it for $200. So they lost $250 million of investor money. So, and that's a big deal, guys, because the whole deal with SiriusXM was only $480 million and they just lost $250. So that's a big deal. So a lot of investors were really angry about that. Now, when looking at their business, they've been making a lot of really poor business decisions. And it's one of the reasons why analysts have been downgrading them. And it's one of the reasons why a lot of investors have been basically selling out and have been really angry at Pandora lately. Now, let's look at an example here. So let's take Ticketfly as an example. Pandora wanted to use its listener data and engagement to sell more concert tickets. So that's why they bought Ticketfly. And it did work to a certain degree. In fact, in 2015, Ticketfly sold $490 million worth. And then in 2016, they made $615 million. So they increased it when Pandora purchased them. However, that is similar growth to Ticketmaster, and Ticketmaster isn't restricted to sell to only one platform, like just Spotify or just Pandora, anything like that. Ticketmaster can work with any music provider, basically like they can work with any music provider. So instead, Pandora should have sold their data to all ticket platforms, not just Ticketfly. And we're going to talk about that. So that's actually what Spotify does. Spotify doesn't sell just to Ticketmaster or just to any other ticket platform. They sell to all platforms. And Ticketfly can't do business with Spotify because Spotify is a direct competitor to Pandora. And Spotify has over 140 million monthly active users. So that's a huge base. And Ticketfly can't do any business with them because it's a conflict of interest. So there's a lot of restrictions there. Ticketfly is restricted to just Pandora, and Pandora is restricted to just Ticketfly. So there's too many restrictions there. So it's a bad business decision. Now, if that wasn't bad enough, 1 year ago, because we know that Pandora was trying to find a buyer right now. Well, 1 year ago, they were offered $15 per share from Liberty Media, and they rejected it. Pandora was also offered $10 per share back in March, and they rejected that. Well, right now, they're worth only $6.98, and they may be going even lower. Now, I know that you would usually want a premium, but you're not going to get, over a 100% premium, right? So these were bad decisions that they rejected all these offers, and then now they're trying to find a buyer. So a lot of investors are also angry about that. So that's another reason why investors are losing confidence in Pandora and the stock is going down. Now, they also have a lot of growing competition from Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon. I mean, are those companies that you want to be competing with? Probably not. And then SoundCloud, and there's more as well. But I do think that there's still a space for Pandora, and Pandora does have somewhat of a base already. And if they can convert a lot of them to premium, that's where they feel that they can start doing better. In fact, I'm just going to read you a quick little piece from The Verge. It's just very quickly here. So The Verge says, but with 80 million users already listening to Pandora every month, the company thinks it has a strong base to grow on. The plan is to offer a new service with essentially no learning curve for those users and a free 6-month trial for current Pandora Plus subscribers. So so that's pretty positive from The Verge. Now, when looking at their numbers, they have a market cap of 1.69 billion. They don't pay any dividends. They're not profitable. Their EPS is negative 1.54. When looking at the earnings surprise percentages, these are actually pretty good numbers here. So for quarter 2, 2016, they had a positive surprise of 13.33%. Quarter 3, it was at 9.52%. Quarter 4, it was 25%. And then quarter 1, 2017, 26%. So all the quarters, they've had a positive earnings surprise percentage. When looking at the NASDAQ consensus, 2 analysts have a sell rating. 1 has an underperform, 9 have a more neutral hold rating, 1 has a buy rating, and then 11 have a strong buy rating. When looking at the last quarter, this was for the March quarter, they were basically talking about their revenue, and they said that in 2016, the March quarter, they had revenue of 297 million. Well, year over year, this March quarter for 2017, they had 316 million. So that's obviously increased. But their earnings per share actually decreased. It was negative 0.51 in 2016, and now it was negative 0.57. So it actually was a little worse this year. Now, when looking at their balance sheet, they have $170 million in cash. They have $1 billion in total assets, like short-term investments and long-term investments and cash and all that together. It's at $1 billion. But liabilities, debt, and everything together in the liabilities category, they have 635 million. So they don't even have a 2-to-1 ratio. And usually I would want a company to have like a 3-to-1 ratio or 4-to-1, and that would be a much stronger, a much better balance sheet. So I feel like their balance sheet is already somewhat poor. And these numbers have actually been getting worse. When looking at all the previous quarters, or at least in the last 4 quarters, those were the ones that I looked at, their assets has been decreasing every quarter, and their liabilities has been increasing every quarter. So their balance sheet is actually getting worse every single quarter. And then when looking at their stock performance, for the past week, they're down 17.5%. Past month, down 25%. Past 3 months, they're down 39%. And then past year, they're down 40%. And in the past 5 years, they're down 34%. So their stock has been doing very, very badly. They're red across the board. Okay, now when looking at their 52-week low, and this was actually on Friday, on June 16th, the most recent trading day, they reached their 52-week low, and it was at $6.98. Their 52-week high was back in September of 2016, and it was at $14.98. And then currently, which was Friday, it was the same thing. It was the 52-week low, so $6.98. So their stock is really low at the moment. So my overall opinion on Pandora stock. Well, I feel like their price is really low at the moment. I like what they're doing with Pandora Premium. I feel like that's the key, kind of the last thing that they needed to really complete their whole business model, to really complete all the services that they're trying to offer. Because I think that the free service is great for local businesses like dentist office, local gyms, things like that, the commercial based, and it's also great for low income people that are low income that can't really afford to pay a monthly fee. I think that the free Pandora is perfect for that. But the Pandora Premium is what will just kind of complete that whole business model, and it'll attract other people who obviously do have money and who want all the full features that they get from Spotify and Apple and Google and things like that. So I think that Premium was kind of the last thing that they needed. I think it's what may end up saving them in the long run and can potentially bring in more profits and things like that as it grows over time. Now, obviously, I don't think that they're going to beat Spotify and Apple. I don't see them ever beating them or anything like that. But we've seen it time and time again that a company doesn't necessarily need to be top dog to be successful or to hold a certain value, right? Because their stock does hold a certain value. Now, you can make the argument that they are undervalued because right now they're really low. So you can make the argument that they're undervalued, that they could potentially go up a little more to a fair value or a fair price, depending on, what the numbers say and things like that. But I think in the future, they will have more growth and Pandora Premium will really help them out a lot. So I think that the stock price could go up in the future. I see them more as maybe like a 1 to 2 year kind of investment type of deal, where I think in the long run, they could see more profits coming in and stuff like that once Premium starts to grow and all that kind of stuff. Now, obviously, they make some horrible business decisions, so I don't like their management. Okay, I really don't like their management, but now that they have this deal with Sirius, that's gonna add 3 board seats for Sirius, and that includes chairman. And there's actually talks of the CEO for Liberty Media being the chairman now of Pandora, so that can really help strengthen their management and hopefully help them make better business decisions in the future. So I kind of see them doing a little bit better in the future, and I'm a little more optimistic maybe than most people would be, but I still don't consider them a great investment or like a serious investment. I definitely would not be throwing thousands of dollars into Pandora. The only reason why I'm going to buy any shares of Pandora is because I have Robinhood, so I don't have to pay commission costs. So I'll probably just invest like $100, something very tiny. But I'm definitely not investing a large amount in them because I feel that they are too risky. I think that they have a poor balance sheet, and it seems to be getting worse. It could improve over time as some of these services pay off for them. But at the moment, I feel like they're just not quite there. And there's also a lot of uncertainty in the market right now, which kind of worries me a little bit. I wouldn't really trust investing in a risky stock kind of like Pandora. But when there's a lot of volatility, when the market is having a lot of uncertainty, these type of stocks tend to get hammered a lot. But it also provides great entry points into a lot of stocks, and we've seen how much they've dropped. I mean, 40% in the last 3 months. They've dropped so much. So, are they undervalued? In my opinion, maybe a little bit. So that's just kind of my opinion though. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. And if you're new, please subscribe. If you liked the video, hit the like button. And if you watched the video all the way through to this very moment in time, then you are Pandora Premium, because I think Pandora Premium could save Pandora, and I think that you are saving my channel. So, so anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope that you all have a wonderful, beautiful day. Take care.